Subject 7. Bible Character Presentation. The Decisive Role of Moses in Jewish History. Presented by Obaji Obaji, Class LBLT 110 Online Survey of Old Testament Literature for 2018. Introduction. According to the book of Exodus, Moses was born in a time when the Israelites and a slave minority was increasing in number, and Pharaoh was worried that they might ally themselves with Egypt's enemies. Moses' mother, Jochebed, secretly hides him when Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys to be killed in order to reduce the population of the Israelites. Through Pharaoh's daughter, identified as Queen Bethiah in the Midrash, the child was found from the Nile River, adopted, and grew up with the Egyptian royal family. After killing an Egyptian slave master because the slave master was smiting a Hebrew, Moses fled across the Red Sea to Midian. Moses encountered the angel of the Lord speaking to him from within a burning bush on Mount Horeb, which he regarded as the mountain of God. God sent Moses back to Egypt to demand the release of the Israelites from slavery. God tells Moses his name is Yahweh, or I am who I am, often interpreted philosophically as the one who exists. Perhaps more accurate to the time and context is I am what I am, or I do what I want to do, or simply mind your own business. God again mentioned He is the God of his fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The plagues. Initially, Pharaoh's magicians are able to mimic the signs of Moses and Aaron. Even after they are unable to mimic Moses, Pharaoh persists in and even hardens his slavery of the Hebrew people. The people were unhappy with Moses and God for worsening their situation. Moses went to see Pharaoh many times, and each time Pharaoh refused to release the Israelites. Moses warned Pharaoh that God would send terrible plagues on Egypt if Pharaoh did not let them go. The 10 plagues were blood, frogs, gaunt, flies, blights of the livestock, boils, hails, locusts, darkness, and the death of the firstborn. The Passover. The final plague was the death of the firstborn. God told Moses that Israelites should mark their doorposts with lamb's blood, so that God could pass over their houses and spare them from this plague. This is why this festival is called Passover. Eventually, Pharaoh gave in and told Moses and the Israelites to go out at once. They left in such a rush that their bread did not have time to rise. This is why during Passover, Jewish people eat unleavened bread called matzah. The leaven comes from the command of God to be kept throughout their generations as a memorial feast to the Lord. After the 10 plagues, Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt and across the Red Sea, which they were helped on their journey by God. The same God who promised Abraham that he would look after the Jews. God parted the Red Sea to help them escape. Exodus 14:21. The 10 Commandments. After traveling through the desert for nearly 3 months, the Israelites camped before Mount Sinai. There God appeared to Moses and made an agreement or covenant with him. God declared that Israelites were his own people and that they must listen to God and obey his laws. These laws were the 10 Commandments, which were given to Moses on 2 stone tablets, and they set out the basic principles that would govern the Israelite lives. The people became impatient waiting for Moses. Aaron leads the people in making an idol. The priests do not control the law but must submit to it. God considers destroying all of the people and leaving only Moses like he did with Noah. Moses pleads with God and God changes his mind. Moses convinced God it would look bad if God brought the people out of Egypt only for them to die in the wilderness. It would not dishonor the Hebrew, but God himself. God relents not because of the people's worthiness or repentance, but because of the covenant he made with Abraham. Conclusion. Moses is one of the most prominent figures in the Old Testament, while Abraham is called the father of the faithful and the recipient of God's unconditional covenant of grace to his people. Moses was the man chosen to bring redemption to his people. God specifically chose Moses to lead the Israelites from captivity in Egypt to salvation in the promised land. Moses is also recognized as the mediator of the Old Covenant and is commonly referred to as the giver of the law. Finally, Moses is the principal author of the Pentateuch, the fundamental books of the entire Bible. Moses' role in the Old Testament is a type and shadow of the role of Jesus plays in the New Testament. As such, his life is definitely worth examining.